Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Well, what a day, what a night, what a 24 hours. Here we are, almost 24 hours after the incident of the White House Correspondents Association dinner, where we saw a man run into the hotel, get past the first line of security, and then he was subdued. Some shots were fired, not clear exactly by whom, but President is okay. He did his news conference last night, and as I predicted, this attempted assassination incident, whatever you want to call it, has resulted in more information being released, and of course, many, many theories, and some conspiracies, and some conspiracy theories bubbling to the surface and going viral online, which is inevitable, predictable. At this point, with the way everything is so darn weird, nothing really would surprise me. It's become normalized. Every day is another level of weirdness with the Trump administration. Every day is weird, and every day it's something else that keeps him in the news cycle. Intentional, unintentional, planned, coincidental, unplanned. You can decide for yourself. Some people said to me, "Wow, what a day, what a night that was overnight, isn't it?" And I said, "It's just normal." This is the new normal. And he is, again, sucking all the oxygen out of the news cycle, dominating headlines, being interviewed on 60 Minutes tonight. After his news conference yesterday, after dominating social media, going viral with the craziness last night. So we'll run through a bunch of that tonight. I'll go over what appears to be true, what is questionable, what's coming next, what's coming now. We'll try to make some sense out of all of that. We'll touch on some of the other news stories from today. We're going to talk a little bit about Chinese cars. We're going to talk about trade deals. And then we'll talk more about Trump. How can I can't avoid it. It's dominating the news cycle. I don't want to. I was really tempted to just not talk about it at all tonight. But I have to. Because it is the top news story of the day. We'll dig into it and other top stories on the other side of this.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So, of course, we had it all live right here on Maverick News last night. We were live streaming the White House Correspondents Association dinner. Trump, the man of the moment, the man who would be roasted, didn't happen. Although I don't know if it was really going to be much of a roast because they had a mentalist there instead of a comedian to roast him last night. Exactly what the presentation or the roasting would have consisted of isn't really clear. The president said that he had quite a speech written, prepared to of course, slap back at the media last night, saying the entire event was supposed to be a celebration, an exercise in free speech, which is what it is largely supposed to be, but cut short, of course, because we had this lone gunman. It depends on which theory or narrative you want to buy into. He made his way into the hotel, the Hilton, and got by the first line of security running at a breakneck speed. I posted the video, which was released by the president himself, posted on Truth Social last night. He said he wanted to show the violence, is what he was quoted as saying. And here it is again, just so we can kind of get the ball rolling here as we kind of review and look at what is going on now and look ahead. So this was the scene last night in the lobby, not in the ballroom, but in the lobby of the hotel.
It looked like he checked it twice.
Lieutenant Hudson, you monitoring this there?
Security camera footage.
Shall I post it as soon as he passed Gunman?
18, go for
It looked like he checked it twice.
So that appears to be the real deal. There are other videos circulating out there, which I think have been produced possibly by AI. So I'm not running them here because I haven't been able to verify the authenticity. That one, though, released on President Trump's Truth Social page. Of course, can you trust what he says? Isn't it terrible when you just don't know? When you just don't know. The suspect, though, identified as Tomas Allen. And he was Teacher of the Year, I guess. I think that's correct. Anyway, lives out in California. Lived out in California. I posted that security camera video and also on the Maverick News X account. I also posted the photos released by the authorities, posted on Trump's Truth Social page last night. And here he is right here. 31, Tomas Allen. And actually, that's a misspelling. It should be Tomas, not Thomas. That's a spelling mistake on our X account. That's the way it was presented to me initially, but later it was changed, or at least the official release says that his name is Tomas, Tomas Allen. And there's a picture of him apprehended. There were also some reports immediately that the suspect had been possibly shot and killed. That was not the case. He was apprehended in the front lobby. Why he is not wearing a shirt, I'm still not sure. Oh, so also tonight we have video, actually from last night, overnight, because it didn't take long for police to go to the home of Tomas Allen in Torrance, California. The man who was apparently armed with multiple weapons, guns, possibly knives. The president himself saying Allen was armed with multiple weapons. So immediately following the incident in Washington, Secret Service agents swarmed the suspect, took him into custody, and then they descended on his home to conduct a thorough search. I have video from outside the suspect's home here, which I can share with you. This is from approximately just now, probably about 17 hours ago. And this was the scene outside his house. The investigation obviously continuing. And we also found today that another video has surfaced of Cole Allen. He was in this ABC affiliates news story. Was at some sort of a tech conference where he was talking about an invention for a wheelchair that he came up with, which looks like some PVC tubing that he designed to work as a brake. I'll get this up on the screen for you. This goes all the way back to 2017. So this guy, very well educated, computer expert. I believe he's an engineer of some kind. Reports that he also worked on video game development, and he was a teacher. Here's the ABC report from 2017 when he was a student at Caltech.
College student Cole Allen developed a prototype for a wheelchair emergency brake.
The wheelchair brakes tend to lock the wheels, but don't actually lock the chair to the ground. The idea with this is to prevent it from moving at all.
Recent Aging into the Future conference held by St. Barnabas Senior Services and the Eisner Foundation offered a test run on products that have the potential to enrich the lives of seniors. 14 different tech startups got to present to over 350 people in the hopes of getting their projects into some sort of senior health facilities. College student.
So there he was, briefly. It's strange to me how someone well-educated, well-respected, integrated into, that's the wrong word, integrated, someone established as a teacher, career, doing well, respected, award-winning, honored, everything going for him, and it seems like he's contributing in great ways by being a teacher and working with kids. And then this, it's odd to me. People, of course, very focused on politics these days. And online, when you're watching stuff, I understand how people get sucked right in sometimes to whatever narrative it is that they're being exposed to. And that can lead to radicalization, extreme thoughts, as emotions ramp up. Who knows what was really going on in his mind when he decided to do this. when he decided to run into the hotel and do whatever it is that he was planning to do. The president saying that he was running in to attack administration officials who were all at the dinner, and some officials are saying that it appears the ultimate objective was for him to try to get as close to the president as possible and try to get a shot at him. Now, they have released a manifesto, a so-called manifesto from Cole Allen, and we have a copy of it here. I have posted it also on our X account tonight, so if you want to see it for yourself, you can go over to the Maverick News Twitter or X account and you'll see it. And here's what he writes. Prior to this incident last night, he says, "Hello, everybody. So I may have given a lot of people a surprise today. Let me start off by apologizing to everyone whose trust I abused. I apologize to my parents for saying I had an interview without specifying it was for Most Wanted. I apologize to my colleagues and students for saying I had a personal emergency. By the time anyone reads this, I probably most certainly do need to go to the ER, but can hardly call that not a self-inflicted status. I apologize to all of the people I traveled next to, all the workers who handled my luggage, and all the other non-targeted people at the hotel who I put in danger simply by being near. I apologize to everyone who was abused and or murdered before this, to all those who suffered before I was able to attempt this, to all who may still suffer after.
Unknown caller.
I'll restart here. I apologize to everyone who was abused and or murdered before this, to all those who suffered before I was able to attempt this, to all who may still suffer after, regardless of my success or failure. I don't expect forgiveness, but if I could have seen any other way to get this close, I would have taken it. Again, my sincere apologies. On to why I did any of this. I am a citizen of the United States of America. What my representatives do reflects on me, and I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. In brackets, well, to be completely honest, I was no longer willing a long time ago, but this is the first real opportunity I've had to do something about it. He goes on, while I'm discussing this, I'll also go over my expected rules of engagement, probably in a terrible format, but I'm not military, so too bad. Administration officials, not including Mr. Patel, they are targets prioritized from highest ranking to lowest. Secret Service, they are targets only if necessary and to be incapacitated non-lethally if possible. AKA, I hope they're wearing body armor because center mass with shotguns messes up people who aren't. Hotel security, not targets if at all possible. AKA, unless they shoot at me. Capitol Police, same as hotel security. National Guard, same as hotel security. Hotel employees, not targets at all. Guests, not targets at all. In order to minimize casualties, I will also be using buckshot rather than slugs, less penetration through walls. I would still go through most everyone here to get to the targets if it were absolutely necessary, on the basis that most people chose to attend a speech by a pedophile, rapist, and traitor, and are thus complicit, but I really hope it doesn't come to that. So, of course, Trump posting or saying in the news conference last night that Cole Allen is sick. This appears to be some sort of a domestic extremism crime. And what a scene it was last night. Chaotic and scary for a lot of people. And as I said at the beginning of the broadcast, for me, yeah, it's a terrible thing. But with Donald Trump, it just seems like another day, because everything surrounding him is so chaotic and disturbing. Just another day. Anyway, I'll be back in a moment. We'll regroup and continue with our coverage, our review, and look ahead, an analysis of everything that has come out over the past 24 hours.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. So, what is the motive? Well, I think it's laid out fairly clearly in the manifesto there. We have video here now of what happened last night, so I'll share it with you. And again, the whole thing, start to finish, the whole thing, we were live streaming it, including the news conference afterward from the White House. And the mentalist that was there as sort of the featured entertainment, came over to introduce himself to the president. Caroline Leavitt was there at the same time. And he was there performing a trick while all of this went down. The camera was, at the time for the live pool feed, was focused on the head table, on the president, on Caroline Leavitt. And this is what it looked like. This is how it happened. And there with the First Lady as well. And then they get him out. And our Secret Service moves in. One more time, take a look at it again. Gonna pull back wide. Now, on the far end of the table, they got the vice president out, apparently before Donald Trump. Some people wondering why. I can't say exactly why. Other than maybe they did, because he was closer. Some people trying to, make sense of that, thinking that there might be more to it than meets the eye, but I'm not so sure about that. All of this happening really within seconds. It started with bang, bang, bang from outside the room. It took a moment for people to realize kind of what might be going on, that there was actual danger. At first, Trump saying that he thought it was crashing plates, or I don't remember exact, trays. I think he said trays. Kind of sound you would normally hear in a ballroom. So that's the way it looked last night. And as that was going on, we were like, what's happening? Exact time of that, somewhere around 8:20, 8:25. Some media saying it was around 8:30 p.m. But we were covering it live, and every indication that we had at the time, and we were carrying the C-SPAN feed, was that it happened just after 8:20 p.m. Eastern. So all this is going on, and yeah, we have J.D. Vance getting picked up by the shoulders, Secret Service grabbing a hold of him and whisking him out. And a lot of other crazy things sort of circulating around all of this. Some of it I've been able to kind of determine it's highly unlikely that it's true, but it won't matter what I say. Some people are just going to be determined to say what, or believe whatever they want anyway. The thing that struck me, though, was Dana White. The MMA industry tycoon. They're having a big Ultimate Fighting Championship event coming up at the White House, and he was at the event and a big supporter of Donald Trump. It was two posts that I'm aware of that I'll bring to you right now. Well, all this is going down to him. Most people, shocked and concerned, right? But look at the reaction that you get from Dana White. Maybe you've seen this already, because it has been circulating online through the evening and the day. But look at his expression. Look at the way he acts. Yeah, turn the audio down here. Just looking around. Other people are still down on the ground. They're all crouching down. And he's just looking around like it's... See, all these other people are hiding behind tables. And he's just taking it all in. Taking it all in. Like it's entertainment.
They were screaming, "Get down!"
I'll get you the clean version. I don't think there's any music on this one. This is where he's walking out, and he's approached by someone with a video camera, presumably doing a live stream. And he responds this way to a question about what he just experienced. And he says, "I think it was awesome." Like, You think it was awesome? Okay. Hang on, here we go.
And they were screaming, "Get down!" I didn't get down. It was fucking. It started getting noisy. Tables getting flipped over. Guys running in with guns, and they were screaming, "Get down!" I didn't get down. It was fucking awesome. I literally took every minute of it in, and it was a pretty crazy, unique experience.
So you were on the aisle. What exactly did you see?
We were sitting right in front of the table.
Okay.
Right in front of where the president was.
Yes. And what exactly happened? So someone got tackled, or like what?
Nobody got tackled, but guys came in looking for shooters. And they came toward our table. I thought the shooter was over by us or something. But yeah.
So you didn't see the actual attack itself. Okay.
It started getting noisy. Tables getting flipped over. Guys.
I don't know if that's. So nobody's really calling that out. They're like, some people think that's cool, I guess. To me, it seems kind of inappropriate, but everyone will react in a different way. I can understand it's like an adrenaline rush, and the phrase that comes to mind after listening to what he just said is, "Are you not entertained?" Like, that's why you're getting so many people spinning up conspiracies or ideas about why this actually happened. Some people say this was all staged. Who am I to argue? Okay, I don't know what truth is really largely coming out of the White House anymore, but I know that some stuff that's being posted is not truthful. But we have like some. I'll go over really what the main conspiracies are here. But first, let's just review what really happened last night. So we know that this all happened at this White House Correspondents Dinner. And I want to comment just a little bit on that too, because Trump keeps saying this was an exercise in free speech and he's determined to do it again, because you can't let an incident like this, you can't let these people, as he would put it, take that away from us. We can't let them do that to our society. And yet there's just something so contradictory about that, because up until this point, every year he has served as president, both in his first term and now in this one, up until last night, he had refused to attend White House Correspondents Association dinners. Last night was different, though. I have thoughts on that. I think that the reason he went last night is because in many ways he has now captured the media as an institution. That's something that leading up to Trump 2.0, we were all being told about. It's like you can't trust the government because the far left, the Marxists, the communists, the cultural Marxists, and there could, some truth to this, the socialists, the left-wingers, they've kind of captured our institutions, Hollywood, academia, social media, the media. That's, and so we were said, of course, if they captured everything, then what you have to do, as on the other political side, is you have to capture it back. You have to take it back. Well, since coming in with Trump 2.0, they've largely been doing that. But in my view, they haven't really restored any level of freedom. No, there's no more freedom of the media. There might actually be less with this administration. Social media was against Trump, or so it appeared, when he was banned off Facebook, and Twitter seemed to be at war with him because it seemed like everything was under the control of the Democrats, the Biden administration. You had the Twitter files that came out after Elon Musk finally wrestled control and ownership of Twitter, turning it into X. And see, what's been going on, even at the White House and at the Pentagon, is a purging since then. The Trump administration has been taking all kinds of steps to control media since then. That's why he went to the dinner last night, because he now largely controls the media through regulation and encouraging or maybe even manipulating the market so that you've got some major shifts in ownership from major mainstream media outlets taking place or has taken place across the country. It puts the bulk of the ownership into the hands firmly of ownerships that are sympathetic or supportive of President Trump. Beyond that, you have social media outlets like X now, which also supportive of. Plus, you have him controlling his own social media platform, Truth Social. Facebook also in his back pocket. Now, instead of at war with Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, you see him whining and dining the guy and sitting at a table with him and money flowing. Just a huge shift in control of the media, even at the White House itself, where traditionally the White House Correspondents Association has been sort of in charge of, from its inception, as I understand it, of deciding who gets to have media access at the White House in that press room. Since Trump has come in with Trump 2.0, control of that, the decisions on who gets to come into that room, has shifted entirely to the control of the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, and her team. So they decide. Some people are applauding it because they're saying, hooray, we're getting more transparency because now you're getting media, like they've been inviting, I don't know if they're still doing it, for a while they were inviting like more independent, smaller social media influencers to come in and participate. But that's all at the control now of the White House. They're deciding which reporters get to cover them. Of course, they're not excluding some of the major media outlets, but we've seen them try to do that. I think it was Associated Press. He tried to purge and have them banned from the White House press corps so that they couldn't come in to those news conferences because they refused to use the phrase Gulf of you-know-what when it's actually the Gulf of Mexico. And then you had a court case where AP fought to have their press pass restored. They won in court. But that's having definite impact on the kind of coverage you're getting out of the White House. They're controlling the media. So now that he has, I wouldn't say ultimate total control by any stretch, but much more control, and the ongoing threats against broadcasters saying if you don't fall into the line, you might just find yourself without a broadcast license. There's all of that, plus all the lawsuits, the lawfare. No, he's much more comfortable going to an event like that now because there's all this pressure on them. That was really a lot of what was going on last night, too. That was why I said there's so much tension there. You can feel this vibe is different this time because you had all these journalists, 250 plus, who were talking about a boycott or a walkout at the event itself because a lot of them not very happy with the way that he handles things like distribution, approval of media passes, and beyond that, and his policies in general, I guess. So that became controversial. The whole event, as much as it's always supposed to be a get-together and sort of lighthearted so that you can poke fun at the president and he can kind of poke back, but it's a roast. It's a celebrity roast for the White House. And it has turned into certainly more of a celebrity affair of sorts because politics has become entertainment. Not exactly the glitzy, glamorous, entertainment-focused events that you get out in Hollywood, but kind of approaching that last night. Everybody in their tuxedos and their sparkly dresses and showing up dressed right up. And it turned into a show. The whole thing was a show. It meant to be a show, live streamed, not as big as the Oscars, but until we had this big ruckus in the front lobby, and then suddenly the whole world was watching. Man, those ratings, didn't they go up? They sure did. Intentional, unintentional, whatever, it doesn't matter. The effect is the same. All the attention focused on Donald Trump again. And suddenly all those problems, all those issues that people thought might come up during the event just suddenly vanished. I expected you might hear some things, some jokes about the Epstein files. Maybe some talk about UFOs. Maybe some talk about trade, the economy. Maybe some carefully worded jokes about the wars. Maybe some criticism leveled back and forth on all of those things. But nope, none of that happened. None of it happened because this protester, whatever, this guy runs into the front lobby and does this thing. And still, right now, I'm not even sure who fired the shot that hit the officer in the chest. I guess he's going to be okay because he had body armor on. But we had multiple shots fired, but who fired the shots? That's still unclear. You can't see that on camera. Can't see it in the front lobby. And yeah, man, Dana White, I think it was awesome. I was taking it all in. Like, yeah, it is the greatest show on earth, isn't it? It literally was last night, a circus. And the greatest show on earth. So, as I say, from that, much to look at here, we've got this suspect, man in custody, Tomas Allen, engineer, computer science graduate, part-time teacher, amateur game developer. So he charges in toward the Secret Service checkpoint just outside the main ballroom, armed with, we're told, a shotgun, a handgun, and knives. We're told he fired shots, hitting one agent who was protected by a bulletproof vest. Not sure if that's true. Don't see video evidence of that. Different kinds of reports. I think that's the official word. He was quickly subdued and arrested. I don't know why the guy's not wearing a shirt. Maybe I don't know. But that seems odd to me. But anyway, that's what we see in the photos that were released of him. The president, First Lady, Melania Trump, the Vice President J.D. Vance, other officials, all safely evacuated. No other injuries occurred. Usha Vance, Second Lady, not there last night. There were some reports initially earlier in the evening that she was there, but no, she was not. Some people wondering why. I don't think that's terribly unusual. They have a lot more latitude in what they, if you're the Second Lady, you the expectations for you to show up at all of these things is not as pronounced. So I don't think that it's necessarily something that lends itself to a conspiracy of any kind. However, some people think there might be more to that. Law enforcement and officials have described it as a genuine attempt to target Trump and administration figures. And they say at this point there's no broader involvement. The dinner postponed. Trump says is going to be rescheduled. And, of course, he is being interviewed on 60 Minutes. And let me see if I've got anything newer in terms of a clip from that interview. Because, of course, we're getting to the point now where all of that should have been released. Broadcasts. Oh, If I can get you something newer than what I have already, I'll give that to you. I think this is basically... Okay, so here's one clip. This is the one I was going to run. So we'll start with this, where he says that he didn't want to make it easy for the gunman, because he's a tough guy. Whatever. You can assess. I don't think he was panicking or anything, but just listen to what he says.
You see the security moving quickly, right, within seconds, grabbing the vice president by his coat, lifting him up, bringing him out. Then the counter assault comes in. Took 10 seconds for them to flank you, Mr. President, and then 20 seconds to get you out. It looked chaotic. At one point, you were down. What was happening?
Well, what happened is it was a little bit me. I wanted to see what was happening, and I wasn't making it that easy for him. I wanted to see what was going on. And by that time, we started to realize maybe it was a bad problem, different kind of a problem, bad one, and different than what would be normal noise from a ballroom, which you hear all the time. And I was surrounded by great people, and I probably made them act a little bit more slowly. I said, wait a minute, let me see, wait a minute. So, I'm telling guys.
Just at that moment where it looks like you go sort of down with the service, you were telling them to wait?
Well, I know what happened is then I started walking with him. I started walking, and they said, please go down on the floor. So I went down, and First Lady went down also, but we were asked to go down by the agents as I was walking. In other words,
they wanted you almost to crawl
I was
out.
standing up, pretty much. I was standing up and then turned around the opposite direction and started pretty much walking out, pretty tall, a little bent over because I'm not looking to be standing too tall. And but I was walking out. It was about halfway there, and they said, please go down to the floor, please go down to the floor. So I dropped to the floor, so did the First Lady.
So, man. All right, another clip here. Here we go. This is him commenting on the
He appears to reference a motive. The so-called manifesto is a stunning thing to read, Mr. President. He appears to reference a motive in it. He writes this, quote, administration officials, they are targets. And he also wrote this, I am no longer willing to permit a pedophile, rapist, and traitor to coat my hands with his crimes. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I was waiting for you to read that because I knew you would, because you're horrible people, horrible people. Yeah, he did write that. I'm not a rapist. I didn't rape anybody.
Do you think he was referring to you?
Excuse me. I'm not a pedophile. You read that crap from some sick person. I got associated with all stuff that has nothing to do with me. I was totally exonerated. Your friends on the other side of the plate are the ones that were involved with, let's say, Epstein or other things. But I said to myself, I'll do this interview, and I read the manifesto. He's a sick person, but you should be ashamed of yourself reading that, because I'm not any of those things.
Mr. President,
and I was
these are
never,
the gunman's words.
Excuse me. You shouldn't be reading that on 60 Minutes. You're a disgrace. But go ahead, let's finish the interview.
The other thing that he wrote in
the
other thing in the manifesto that I think is worth looking at in terms of determining his motive is he had been staying at the hotel since Friday. He checked in, he said he had cased the place, and he wrote, what the hell is the Secret Service doing? And he wrote this quote, I expected security cameras at every bend, bugged hotel rooms, armed agents every 10 feet, metal detectors out the wazoo. What I got is nothing. He wrote, like, this level of incompetence is insane. Sir, you have already had two attempted...
Well, he was pretty incompetent, too, because he got caught. And he got caught pretty easily. So I'd say he was pretty incompetent, too. I could take any event having to do with security or anything else. I can always find fault. Those guys did a good job last night. They did a really good job.
I mention that because, again, as his motive, and you brought this up, he had social media accounts that had anti-Trump and anti-Christian rhetoric.
You should read, why don't you read all the anti-Trump? Why don't you read it? You just did, so why don't you read it?
Well, he had a lot of anti-Christian rhetoric. He was part of a group called the Wide Awakes. He had attended a No Kings protest in California.
No Kings.
Chum didn't like you talking about that stuff. Yeah, you touch a nerve there. Yeah. I don't know. Let's go back and just take another look at this, shall we? Okay, here's another clip about his first reaction to everything going on.
When did you know something was wrong?
Right around that point. In fact, you can see the expression on the First Lady's face, and your president of the evening, chairman or president or both, who is doing a great job, by the way.
Weijia Jiang,
your
CBS
associate,
News.
yeah, she was a terrific person. They were asking the name of Caroline's child that he didn't know, I guess. But
Your
he was
press
able to-
secretary is expecting, and he was trying to guess
That's
the
right.
baby's name.
That's right.
You mentioned the First Lady. Her face, she looked very alarmed. Was she scared?
Well, I don't want to say, and people don't like having it said that they were scared, but certainly, I mean, who wouldn't be when you have a situation like that? By that time, I think she realized ahead of time that that was more of a bullet than it was a tray. And she was, I looked at her face just a little while ago before I came. I saw the scene. They played it for me in, pretty good close-up. And she looked very upset about what just took place. Why not?
Wow. Okay. One thing is certain. Aside from the Manifesto, which draws attention to the whole Epstein files thing, we are not really hearing much about the Epstein files tonight or any other issues affecting Trump because everything is about him again. That was the case last night at the news conference as well. Nobody's challenging him really on anything. And even there, when she brings up the subject mentioned within the Manifesto, he attacks her. She didn't say it, but it's in the Manifesto. But she gets hammered in the interview for being a terrible person. All the media, terrible people. But that's what was written. I would have asked him about that as well. And because he doesn't really want to answer the questions and hits back the way he does, I think that there's absolute justification in asking more questions.
Shadow walks, national security took the stage while justice victims. And also Donald Trump. Coincidence? Just dumb luck. Right? Another sealed file. That crocodile smile. We did our best, says the DOJ, while the truth just fades away. Another new spin. No one will win except the rich guys with gold ID cards and closets full of secrets behind steel bars. Just a little glitch. A billionaire's privilege. That's the sound of the case. Closed.
Yeah, and just related to that, and we will be coming back to him, the Premier of Manitoba in Canada, Wab Kinew, as the trade tensions escalate between Canada and the Trump administration, regime, whatever, continues to heat up. He came up with this the other day, and I think he's pretty serious about it, actually. He's saying that they'll put U.S. booze back on liquor store shelves as soon as the Trump administration releases all of the Epstein files.
It almost seems like, we know that it works and we see that it is effective because it is getting their attention. But do you think that it makes enough sense that it could be hindering our ability to get back to the table here?
I don't know. Maybe we should up the ante. Maybe we should say that they need to release the Epstein files, and then we'll remove the booze ban. Donald Trump obviously does not like talking about the Epstein files because he's mentioned in there so often, and he does very erratic things to try and change the channel whenever the domestic pressure is growing on it. So maybe we should put that on the table and then say that that's when the booze will come back, when they release the rest of the Epstein files. So we're in a negotiation. There's a lot of bluster, a lot of heat, a lot of tough talk coming from the American side. We have a card that works with these booze bans. I don't think we should give it up. We should play our cards right.
It almost...
I have to admit, I kind of like his style. I do. That's pretty spicy. Now, back to what happened last night. We talked about J.D. Vance being taken out of the room first before the president. Here's this angle on it to show what happened, and you can assess as you see fit based on what you're about to watch. Take the scary music down. And the president's still sitting there. That was quite a long time after they got Vance out faster. You'd kind of think that they would be more focused on him. Now, it didn't look to me like he got down. It looked to me like he fell. We'll run it one more time. So he's out of there. Now look over there. Well, maybe he gets down. I don't know. It looks to me like he maybe stumbles, and then they help him back up. I don't think they were expecting him to crawl. You want to get him out of there as quickly as possible. On the other hand, Vance closer to those guys. Maybe that's the reason they got him out first, simply because they had easier access to him. They were closer, so they could whisk him away. Trump in the middle of the table, of course. Okay, enough of that. And we also told you, we made reference to the mentalist. We showed him at the table. performing that trick. What was he doing? He was trying to guess the name of Caroline Leavitt's daughter, who is soon to be born, and captured here in this interview on the street, I believe earlier today.
All right, I'm here again with Oz Perlman, and you can now finally tell us what the trick was you were performing on Caroline Leavitt.
Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, challenged me, said, I'm having a baby next week. We were talking about it because we both have children. And she goes, can you guess what I'm naming my daughter? And so this is happening backstage. We were interrupted because the president walked in.
Yeah.
And so I said, let's save it for when we get up on the dais.
Yeah.
And that's when I came over to introduce myself. I was coming to say hello to the president and to the first lady. And I was guessing letter by letter how many letters were in the name. And then right at the moment where you see it happen, I wrote down the name. And I said, how did I do? And I turn it around, and that's when you see the first lady go, oh, and she goes, is that the name? And that's the moment where this happened.
All right, and Caroline has given you permission to tell us what you guessed, which is the name of her baby.
That's exactly right. That's what's on the paper.
And what's the name?
I believe the name is Vivian. So yeah, that's what I guessed.
I mean, anyway, what a surreal part of the night.
I'll never forget it.
At the moment. All right, Oz Perlman.
Wow. Mind blower, but the whole thing is steeped in weirdness, isn't it? And just having Oz Perlman there to perform his act instantly set off a lot of speculation about what this whole thing would really be about. Why a mentalist? Every other president gets a comedian, but he gets a mentalist. And we've talked a lot about the way the Trump administration, MAGA, uses social media, propaganda, information warfare, psychological warfare, psychological manipulation in order to influence people. They have their own network of influencers out there, pro-MAGA people, many of which just recently seem to have turned against the president. Why is that? I think because they maybe serve more than one master. But that's a bit of a mystery. I can only say that, of course, it's fitting, given all of that Trump has a mentalist there because he's been a master of manipulation, mental manipulation, always has been, continues to be. I pointed out the other night, he's always contradicting himself whenever he speaks. It confuses people, it causes chaos, and it creates a condition in your mind where you take from what he says what you want, allowing people on either side to just grasp for this or grasp for that in order to give himself, I think, some degree of plausible deniability in anything that he does. He can say, I didn't say this, I didn't say that. You're kind of wondering what the hell is going on. And every time he creates a problem, which is this is his MO. He creates problems like the war in Iran, where because of the way he did it, he created a crisis in the Strait of Hormuz. Now you've got a big problem. It gets shut down. But then through all of this mumbo-jumbo psychobabble that he gets involved with, somehow he flips it all around and turns it around to make it the responsibility of other countries to come in and clean up the mess. So he's saying, it's not our strait. We don't even care about it. We've won this war. Now the war is not on. Now the war is on. Now it's off. There are negotiations taking place. We don't even care if there's a negotiation. We may just completely obliterate the entire country and destroy the entire civilization overnight. I don't know. Maybe we'll have to do that. I don't want to, but maybe it'll happen. Oh no, by the way, I'm declaring a unilateral ceasefire, and Iran is begging to get back to the table and negotiate with us. And even though they said that, oh, well, I didn't even say for anybody to go to Pakistan to engage in any kind of negotiations. I didn't tell them to go. I'm canceling the peace talks, but they want to come. Oh, meanwhile, Iran's going like, what are you talking about? Neither side in this thing can be trusted. And he engages in all this craziness so that he flips it around and says NATO wasn't there for us. Well, NATO's a defensive organization. This was an offensive operation. NATO allies really not consulted prior to it. And here I am going on about it again right tonight, but that's really where the focus needs to be. But we're talking about this assassination extravaganza in prime time last night, and the saga continues this evening, doesn't it? It is entertaining, to say the least. A big show, the greatest show on earth, from a man who literally is a political P.T. Barnum. So described by many people who know him well, has been described as such in many books. And we've got all these prominent conspiracy theories circulating around it, and that won't do him any harm either, because it just keeps the focus on him tonight. You have all kinds of conspiracies out there, whether it's on X, Blue Sky, Instagram, Truth Social itself, you name it, it's all out there. It all started to emerge immediately after those shots heard last night. They've filled the initial information vacuum and have been amplified by influencers from both the left and the right, through even mainstream media and fact checkers, as well as attempts are made to fact check them and label them as baseless or partially true, or however whatever the Pinocchio score they want to give to it is. And so the most prominent conspiracy theories or realities, whatever, are that this was a staged or fake assassination attempt to gain sympathy politically and used for political gain. And so this is the dominant theory, and it claims the entire event orchestrated or allowed to happen by the Trump administration or allies to boost the president's low approval ratings, generate public sympathy, or create this hero narrative ahead of the midterms or other political fights. And this is, of course, echoing similar claims after the prior Trump assassination attempts, including the one in Butler. A lot of theories around that. And I have to say, it's just the way that photo was taken with the flag right behind him, his fist raised into the air, and the photographers moved right into position to take that shot. I have to say, it's pretty freaking amazing that they were able to get that shot just perfectly framed up like that. I mean, you can crouch and change angles and stuff, but for that flag to be dropped right behind him the way that it was, just right. What a shot. Couldn't have planned it any better, but there it is. Anyway, so you can take that for whatever it's worth. Just coincidental happenstance. Some people are saying that it was all staged last night to push the $400 million White House ballroom bunker project. That new ultra-secure drone-proof ballroom inside the White House complex. Of course, there are legal challenges up against that, and he's pushing to get that done, and he even mentioned it during the news conference last night, didn't he? Critics claim the shooting was manufactured to argue that off-site venues like the Hilton are unsafe, providing justification to resume or accelerate the project. And Trump has publicly referenced security concerns over the past 24 hours and the incident in relation to the plan shortly afterward. He says that's why we need this grand ballroom, the best ballroom humankind has ever seen, the likes of which the world has never seen before. Another is saying it was a false flag, an inside job with Secret Service complicit. They had knowledge of it beforehand, saying that they deliberately let the gunman get close or staged the breach as controlled political capital without real risk. And he didn't really get that close to the president. They did take him down well beforehand. But I don't know. Accusations of an authoritarian playbook that Trump insiders knew in advance to evacuate safely and capitalize on it. I don't know. I didn't really see much of that going on. But I have to say, what also makes the whole thing suspect to me is just Dana White sitting there, taking it all in and looking like a super tough guy, which I'm sure he is. I wouldn't want to tangle with the guy, but saying it was awesome. Yeah, entertaining. And then there's this clip, of course, with Caroline Leavitt with apparent foreknowledge of it. I didn't have that queued up here, but maybe I can find it for you. I'm sure that I can fairly quickly, where she references there will be shots fired tonight in an interview. Just prior to the event kicking off. Here it's on Fox News, and I have it here for you. I'll run it if you haven't heard it. It is a little bit weird, but I wouldn't say it's decisive evidence or clear evidence, smoking bullet, if you will, of an actual conspiracy. Nevertheless, it's kind of weird. Listen to what she says.
It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I love it.
It'll be funny. It'll be entertaining. There will be some shots fired tonight in the room. So everyone should tune in. It's going to be really great. I'm looking forward to hearing it.
I love it.
All right, well, shots, it's... well, did she mean it literally or not? You can decide. It's weird, though. Everything around Trump is weird. Weirdest presidency ever. And then you have of course, this one had to come up, didn't it? Mossad and Israel, foreign false flag to drag the U.S. deeper into the Iran conflict. I don't know. Saying that the incident was engineered by Mossad, pro-Israel elements to intimidate Trump into escalating military action against Iran. Yeah, there is also this, which I checked into. Everything suggests that this is fake, and very likely AI generated. It is a photograph. If I can find it here. There it is. Of the suspect wearing a sweatshirt that they say is an IDF sweatshirt. I'll show it to you here. Right there. However, looked into it and there's no credible confirmation out there tonight that this is true at all. It may look real, but it appears to be AI. So if you're seeing that, I'd take it with not just a grain of salt, but a whole salt shaker full of it. Because I'm not convinced at all. Don't believe it. Somebody's going to have to prove it to me beyond just showing me that photo. And that's why largely it's being ignored by most media outlets tonight. So that's related to the Mossad-Israel theory. And some people are saying it was staged, the whole thing just staged, so that Trump could avoid being roasted. But I'm not sure that that holds, because he's still going to go through it, because it is being rescheduled. He has made that clear. This will happen within the next 30 days, we are told. So he's not completely dodging it. If he didn't want to be there, I don't think he would have gone. However, all of this went down, and it's only making him stronger. I guess I hate to say it this way, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, whether it's planned or not. That is the end result here tonight. And then there's this other weird one out there tonight, too, which there's two of them, actually. There's this post, which appears to be completely fabricated. Prove me wrong, and I'll change my mind, but I'm not seeing real evidence that this is true, of Obama posting saying, just making these claims about what Obama's saying and trying to associate the two. And I don't think that there's really a picture of Cole Allen like with the President Obama that's authentic. So again, if you're seeing that, I don't think so. But hey, man, whatever. Highly, highly unlikely. And then there's this stuff about this. This is kind of weird, and this page does exist. But to verify an actual link between this and the Cole Allen involved in last night's incident, that's a bit of a stretch too. So back in 2023, and this is being shared widely. Again, I'm not buying it until I see some better verification than what is out there tonight. But this account with the Pepe meme frog thingy, which everybody knows what that really means, and this Henry Martinez account, one post, account created December 2023, 0 followers, 3,842 following, but there's only ever been one post on it. Now with 8.8 million views, because this Henry Martinez, whoever it is, just posts 2 words, Cole Allen, in 2023. Why? Not exactly sure, but then they're making reference to, I believe, this abstract 3D digitization image on a website called Time Machine. And people are saying if you look really closely at it, you can see the photograph or the image or impression of the photograph that was captured at the Butler assassination attempt. I suppose you could make anything out of anything if you really wanted to make something of something, but as I'm looking at it, I'm really trying, and if I squint, maybe I can see a head, and maybe what I could say would be an arm raised. Of course, out of that, I could see a lot of different things because it's very abstract. Do you see that picture in that thing? Whatever that is. It's kind of a cool looking thing. I'm not sure you can see it if you want to see it, I guess. I haven't seen anybody really take it and do anything with it. Again, I'm not buying it until somebody gives me some sort of better verification. Now, that being said, the effect still the same in terms of what this is doing for Trump tonight, because the effect is that he is enjoying some sympathy, and his approval rating in the tank. It's super low. He's been dropping like a rock. He's got big PR problems. He has an image problem. He has a problem in Iran, in the Strait of Hormuz. This war with Iran has been he's just been bleeding off support. It is really bad. The MAGA base fracturing largely over that, plus other issues, the Epstein files costing him big time. You also have rising inflation. He denies it, but people see what prices they're paying at the grocery stores. They understand that. We're seeing it here in Canada as well. It isn't just because of what's going on in this country. This is happening around the world. Rising gas prices. That certainly contributes to inflation. And that is because of restricted supply. The oil companies are making bank. They might be selling less, but they're getting much higher prices. And overall, they're making a lot more money. I'm seeing posts here tonight. Oh, American tankers coming to Texas to fill up, and then they're making their way over to Japan via the Panama Canal. And what did Trump do? When he first got into office, he made a point of securing the Panama Canal. Didn't like China's involvement in the operation of it. Purged that, took control of it again. There was saber rattling going on down there too because of the way they did it. Now they're like, yeah, we're sending American oil to Asia via the Panama Canal. Planned? Wouldn't surprise me a bit because nothing would surprise me at this point. So he causes this crisis in the Strait of Hormuz. Why? To jack up the oil prices, to help his oil oligarch buddies in the U.S., who he met at that roundtable discussion after they did their deal in Venezuela and took Maduro out. And now you have the U.S. assuming or asserting a greater degree of control through what is clearly a corrupt government down there in Venezuela now, and making a dirty deal with Trump in order to preserve some sort of a facade of sovereignty, I guess, with somebody who, I guess, probably sold Maduro out to allow him to be captured, taken back. That's, I think, a little bit closer to the truth of what's going on down there. So, yeah, it's all about the oil, baby. And, yeah, the rich people are getting richer, but everybody else, the peasants like you and I, we're paying more at the pump in order to finance the war, line the pockets of the big oligarchs who are in Trump's back pocket, beholden to him because he's imposed all these tariffs. And if you're a big corporation, you need to suck up to him and take him gifts of gold or whatever he wants and praise him and stroke him so that he doesn't pull a tariff lever and exert leverage on you and your industry to bring you to heel. If you want an exemption on that, you go see the Trumpster, and if he likes you, if you've done something for him, then yeah, he just pulls the lever back a little bit, eases off, and the next thing you know, you're in good, in league with the other oligarchs who are then protected because he'll put regulations in place to create barriers to entry into specific industries to protect you, while everybody else gets punished. That's why tariffs are not such a great thing, because they pick winners and losers through regulations. It increases prices. Certain people get richer. Little people get a lot poorer. That's us, by the way, because that's their club. And as you know, we're not really in it. So all that going on. Conspiracy, whatever. This is what's going on. He is in a much better position here now, 24 hours after this incident, than he has been probably in months. We'll see where the approval ratings go as a result of this. Maybe there's something that's been done in the last 24 hours. Let me just check. I wouldn't be surprised if there's been some sort of a survey poll done already to determine. I'll just search here. Just occurred to me that maybe I better check for that. And let's just see here. I don't, might be way too early. Yeah, nothing yet. But he's been in the tank, man. It's been way down. So we'll have to see. Well, we should get something pretty quickly, I think, though, from Nate Silver or Real Clear Politics. Some of the major media outlets will, I'm sure, soon come out with some new data. But his approval ratings, I think they're down as low as like 39, even 36%. The AP poll, I think, that came out, it was only 33. Like, that's crazy low. He's got big problems. And I think he's in trouble because a lot of the people out there in social media land, big accounts too, that have been propping him up, giving him the public support by generating it online, they've come out to attack him. Even Alex Jones has come out against him. And you go back and you look at other influencers over the past couple of years, many of them from the Alex Jones School of Broadcast Journalism. Owen Schroyer, David Knight, those guys, they've come out hard against Trump. David Knight just hammering Trump on the vaccine issue. Owen Schroyer of late just saying that Trump's all, he is the problem. And even Alex Jones going to war with him. Other social media influencers too. Tucker Carlson apologizing to the public for misleading people or for doing this to us. Remember that out there in Alberta land. The guy who said that he's coming to Canada to liberate us is now apologizing for what he has done to us. So maybe his judgment isn't as sound as people think it is. Maybe you might just rethink kind of where you're going with regard to all that stuff out there, given who it is that's making promises they probably are not going to keep. Oh, man. And very soon, well, all I can say is these theories went crazy online. They're continuing to circulate. I'm not saying they're not true. I'm saying they haven't been proven to me. And until they are, then I remain very skeptical. I just want more verification. I can't base something just on a photo which hasn't been verified, which is very suspect, especially from all of the sources where I'm seeing it come from. Show me something better than that. I need something better, because that's not proof. Weird, though? Oh, yeah, it's weird. Entertaining? Oh, yeah, this is entertainment. Politics has become entertainment, especially since the creation of television. Those cameras out there all the time, they've changed the way that we consume politics, even wars. But as I said the other night, I don't even really know what's going on out in Iran because you're not seeing like real video evidence come out of there. So when Trump says that they've obliterated something, what does that mean? And these trade talks, too, on the Canadian side, that's all bluster, too. Kevin O'Leary saying, that what they want to do is create a North American economic union. I think that's true, largely. And as a business person, he and a Trump supporter, he wants that to happen. So he's encouraging Canada to just get on board, get her done. And yeah, there he is with the Premier of Alberta going down to Mar-a-Lago to meet with him. And then they ramp up all this anti-China rhetoric, and they're so concerned about China. That's all you hear out of him. That's all you heard out of his mouth during the pandemic. Who did he blame? China. China's to blame. China denies all of that stuff. The more I look at it, it's like, wait a minute, look the policies you implemented during the pandemic. And I've mentioned this before. It's becoming painfully obvious to me that Trump is the architect of a lot of our problems, if not all of them, especially since the pandemic. Because the way he responded, the regulations he brought in, the divisive politics that came as a result of all of that, and all this China stuff directed at Canada, just so hypocritical. Criticizing Canada for going over to China to negotiate a deal to allow some cars to come into Canada, 49,000 out of an annually we sell about 2 million a year. It's a carve-out deal. Why? Again, I'll explain it. Why did we do that? Because China imposed 85% tariffs on canola coming from Western Canada as a result of that. And that was the result of Canada imposing 100% tariffs on electric vehicles manufactured in China. Because you had that, China imposed the canola tariffs. Why did we have the 100% tariffs? Because of what was going on in the United States. They imposed 100% tariffs. We said, we're with you. We'll impose them too. This is when Trudeau was prime minister. But China didn't penalize the United States. They came after Canada, I guess hoping that we would then put pressure on the U.S. But instead of saying thank you, Canada, for being in lockstep with us and supporting our relationship, our long-standing automotive industry trading relationship, which has been in place since the beginning of the auto industry. No, Trump says, no, we want to take all your auto plants, by the way, and we're going to put these 25% tariffs on all of your automobiles. And these tariffs that he has imposed are a violation of the Kuzma trade deal, which Trump negotiated when he was in office the first time. Trump 1.0. Best trade deal ever. Now it's the worst trade deal ever. So he's just going to have to take all of our auto plants by imposing tariffs to make it unviable for anything produced in Canada to be shipped to the U.S. So what does Canada do? We, of course, have to find alternatives. So we go to China. This is why people are opposed to him. This is why people don't like him. Because you can't trust him. He signs a deal, then he tears the deal up. And then he insults you and says it's your fault. Not just us, everybody. He causes a problem, it's NATO's fault. We build a bridge between Windsor and Detroit, we pay for the whole damn thing, give half ownership to Michigan, and then he comes in and says that's a crappy deal. And we use U.S. and Canadian steel in it. And U.S. construction workers with Canadians as well. But we paid for the whole damn thing. And he says, we need to own it. So you want us to build it and give it, like, this is craziness. And then he doesn't want to let it open because that's a crappy deal. Because we'll benefit more than them, he says. We both benefit, man. Anyway, back to the China thing. So Canada, I guess, not allowed to do business with China. We're not allowed. Do you know how much stuff we import from China? Do you know how much stuff is imported from China into the United States? Go to Walmart. Check the made in whatever labels. Look at all the Trump merchandise. How much of that stuff has been made in China? Quite a bit of it, until he's been embarrassed in some cases into shifting some contracts to U.S. companies, but still, massive amounts of stuff comes from China all the time. You know it, I know it. It's very hypocritical. And so what's he doing now? Well, I'll tell you what he's doing in a moment, but I'll tell you what Canada's doing. Mark Carney put together this Canada-U.S. Advisory Committee. It was unveiled this week, and it's made up of, like, all parties, like a bunch of stakeholders. You have some leaders from CEOs from major corporations involved. Former conservative leader Aaron O'Toole is on this advisory board, and it's all about coming together to work together on the Canadian side to come up with ideas and strategies and say, you know, to these big companies, if we negotiate this as part of the deal, can you guys live with that? Or is this a better thing if we do it this way? What would you like to see us try to get at the bargaining table? And it's bringing all the parties together to come up with some all Canadian solutions to this trade war, which is completely unnecessary, but in being posed upon us. Now, here's O'Toole, and he's saying that he's been tapped to join Prime Minister Mark Carney's 24-member Canada-U.S. Advisory Committee. It's a formal review of the country's trilateral trade deal with Mexico and the U.S. And more than a year into a protracted trade war, it says here on this article out of the CTV site, Carney is once again emphasizing a shift in the relationship with Canada's closest neighbor, describing Canada's ties to the U.S. as a weakness. In a social media post posted last Sunday, which we ran here. So he's got, everybody kind of working together. Now, O'Toole is concerned about the Chinese vehicle deal. Fair enough, okay? You don't necessarily have to like it, but personally, as I look at it, I'm like, what other choice do we really have? And some people say, you have to go to Europe, then get them from Europe, or make your own, or some of these things just, on the surface, they sound right, but not really viable. Anyway, so what's O'Toole saying here? He's saying that he has concerns about the EV vehicles coming in. Not sure it's the right approach. He says, I've been publicly critical of that part of the minister's trip. In this interview with CTV, he said, I thought it was good that Carney went to China. It's critical for agricultural exports and Western Canada, and they needed to see that. But the substitute for a great American partner is not China. He also said adding Canada should be aligned with the U.S. when it comes to China as part of unified North American front. We have to be cautious with China. Fair enough. I get it. Some people concerned about security, as we should be with every country. And I just don't know, man. Like, I guess on that front, you could say, like, why can't we just buy great American cars and SUVs? Like, I don't know, Lincolns. Just buy Lincolns. Or maybe buy Buicks, like, I don't know, here, like this Buick Envision. Maybe something like this. Maybe that'd make Aaron O'Toole happy.
It's time to reimagine exceptional. Introducing the 2024 Buick Envision. Experience advanced technology with breathtaking clarity and help keep the noise out, creating a serene space within. With advanced safety technologies standard on Envision, experience confident driving wherever the road takes you. Discover what it's like to make every day an occasion. Buick, exceptional by design.
Yeah. Beautiful. It's a nice SUV. If only we could just make those things and have people buy those. Maybe build all those in, well, we would make them in Canada, except that we're not allowed to have auto plants. At least not allowed to have any and sell any into the States. And we just get back to building good old-fashioned American muscle again. We'd be in a much better position, right? The only problem is that ain't American muscle. Those made and continue to be made in, China. And where are they sold? In the United States. Today. That's a Chinese-built EV. Well, it's not an EV. It's an ICE vehicle, internal combustion engine. Pretty damn nice. Really nice, actually. Very well built. Oh yeah, but Rick, they don't sell that many now. Yeah, we made a deal to bring 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles to Canada. They're going to set up these companies as a result, a bunch of dealer networks. They're going to build dealerships here. Do you know how much money that means for the economy? And if we keep on going down this road, we're going to get some sort of not as much of an assembly facility, but not as large, but they will be doing some partial reassembly of LEAP motor vehicles at the Brampton assembly plant to replace that Jeep production line, which was moved to the U.S. and that's from Leap Motors. Well, what's Leap Motors? That's owned by Stellantis. Who owns Stellantis? Well, Stellantis is a multinational corporation. They own all kinds of different automotive brands. It changes from time to time, all kinds. Chrysler among them. They also own, well, here, I'll get a list. I believe they own, out of Leap Motors, I think they own something like 40%, something like that. It's a large share. They don't have controlling interest in it, but it's a large portion of it. They own all these what you would think would be European brands: Abarth, Alfa Romeo, Chrysler, Citroen, Dodge in the U.S., DS Automobiles, France, Fiat, Italy, Jeep. That's why that Brampton plant, which was always, part of First American Motors, then Chrysler, now Stellantis, Jeep, that's all part of that group, which Stellantis now owns. They own Lancia in Italy, Maserati, Opel, Peugeot, Ram, trucks, U.S., Vauxhall, and they own a big share of Leap Motors. That's why, because of their involvement, that they might be able to put some of the reassembly, if they bring some of those vehicles here, that'll put some jobs back into that plant. So they're talking about it. Not sure where that's going to go. Don't know if it's the best of deals, but they're talking. And at least there's that. There's maybe opportunity. Take it or leave it. And, those Buick Envisions, how many are we talking about? This is why it's just mind-blowingly hypocritical what's coming out of the Trump administration. This year, they will import from China like 80,000 vehicles. 80,000, approximately. Made in China vehicles for the U.S. market. They've been selling those Envisions since 2016, including the current model today. That was the 2024 model. Looks pretty much the same today. But this is ridiculous. We're not allowed to import 49,000, which was a deal to save the canola farmers. O'Toole says, well, we have to protect the farmers, but we shouldn't be doing anything with those automobiles. Trump himself has talked about doing more business with Chinese automakers, but got pushback from the automotive unions, from the UAW in the U.S., especially around the time of the election, and the UAW came out and supported him, threw their support behind him. And so he's kind of in the union's pocket, so he's going to give them what they want. They don't want the Chinese cars. They want these other brands. But I'm telling you right now, it's just not that simple anymore, because none of these companies are truly just American anymore. They're all multinationals. Buick, General Motors, has been making massive investments in China, producing vehicles over there, the Envision being imported back into the United States. Lincoln, they also produce a model in China that is exported from China back into the United States. All this has been going on while Trump's been in the White House since 2016. Didn't do a damn thing about it during Trump 1.0. Now it's a big problem. And oh my God, it's a national security issue, for crying out loud. Like they're going to come up here and take over our country, invade us, liberate us from the evil Chinese. And then if you go and you watch those product videos, that was one of them, from General Motors, from Buick, talking about the Envision, you'll see them highlighting the tech in it, right? And they've got the Google system, interactive system in the Envision. And people are like, well, if we import the Chinese vehicles, they're going to spy on us. Doug Ford, Ontario Premier, just the other day saying, well, we can't have those vehicles coming here because they're those Chinese spy cars. Well, who the hell is spying on you if you buy a Buick Envision, which you may not even know came from China? A lot of people don't realize it. It's true. Who's spying on you? Is it somebody back in China, or is it Google? It's Google, dude, because Google has the tech in the vehicle. It's Google, which is the same as your damn phone. But we can't do that. No, because they don't want you to have it. They don't want it because they don't want us to have the automotive industry here at all. They want it all down there. He'll jump at having any Chinese company invest in the United States. He just doesn't want them investing up here because he wants the investment down there. Same thing with the Japanese and the steel industry in the U.S. He was against, can't have the Japanese, can't have. Now they own a big chunk of the U.S. steel industry. Well, as long as you bring the money, now it's a good thing. Once it's a bad thing, now it's a good thing. That's what it is. So they ramp up the rhetoric. They leverage their social media influencer network up here to get all the negative crap going on about it. Now, we know that China can be at issue, but it doesn't mean we can't address those risks. But hey, believe whatever you want to believe. The tech is from Google and these companies, not just anchored to a particular country. Now you look at even BYD, Chinese brand, that will be the company that will, I think, import the bulk of the vehicles into Canada because they're the most established Chinese automaker. And when I say Chinese, even there, do you know who has like one of the biggest shares, owns one of the biggest chunks of shares in BYD? Warren Buffett. He's not Chinese. He's like one of the richest men on the face of the earth, and he's American. It's not just, that's a Chinese company. These companies in China as well, those Chinese brands, they're all traded on the stock markets, and people from all over the world buy the stocks. Yeah, they can be controlled through regulation in certain countries. That's where their head offices are located, right? But the money's not staying in your local community, man. It's going out into the stock market. Well, what about a brand like MG? That's a good British brand. Chinese, and they're building one of the coolest sports cars. I mean, it looks like it's a really beautiful car. Little 2-seater roadster, and if I was still in a midlife crisis, I'd want one, but I'm beyond that now, so I'm happy. It would be perfect if I was going through a midlife crisis, or it'd be perfect for, anybody with no commitments. If you don't need to get a baby seat in the back, or groceries. If you just want you and your date. So, the perfect car for a 20-year-old who can't afford it. Life is cruel, You need those things when you're young. And then when you get older, you haven't had it, and now you really shouldn't have it because it'll just get you into trouble. And then when you do get it, it gets you into trouble because you can afford it, and then you have to get rid of it. And then you pay a really heavy price for it. And then when you get older, you go, wow, that was a really stupid thing to do. I should have learned that when I was 20. But that's a lesson you can't afford to learn when you're that young. Life is so cruel and ironic. And maybe we'll learn a little bit more as we weave our way through this minefield that they're calling the trade talks with Trump. But he's going to China himself, and that's where the hypocrisy smacks again. He's going to travel to Beijing for this 2-day summit with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. It'll happen May 14th and 15th, and the trip was originally planned for late March or earlier this month, but it was all postponed because of the big war in Iran, which he thought was going to be over in just a short order, but it's dragged on much longer. Yes, it wasn't over in 3 to 4 weeks. It's now into, it's been 2 months, and the clock continues to tick. The White House has confirmed the dates, so this is going to happen, and they're calling the meetings historic. So it's okay for him to go, just not Canada. He's calling the summit, it's a summit. He's calling it special and potentially historic, and it's all happening with expectations focused on these trade tensions, tariffs, regional stability, and possible cooperation on issues like Iran and North Korea, and trade. So yeah, off he goes. I'm going to China. Hey, Canada, what are you doing up there? National security threat. You're talking to China. They're already importing more Chinese vehicles into the U.S. than Canada has made, will be importing as part of that deal. The 49,000 that we're going to bring into Canada. You tell me how that makes any gosh darn sense. A lot of analysts are saying that the summit could shape U.S.-China relations for the rest of his term, maybe beyond. I don't know. I grow weary. So weary that, my wife said to me today, "Wow, I can't believe it was all that assassination attempt. That guy tried to kill the president." And I'm just sitting there, eating my lunch. Yeah, it's just normal. It's true. It's a big story, obviously, but it's just normal today as a result. And I have to say, I'm glad to see that all the parties involved in that advisory committee being set up for Canada. So you have Conservatives and Democrats, you have the Liberals in there, you have big companies participating. It's a brainstorming session, right? To come up with ideas, a unified approach, to go down, sit at the negotiating table. You all know what you can live with, what you can't. What are we going to do to try and get what we need? And that's the way to do it. You have to, at some point, put the partisan politics aside and come together so that Canadians are well served. That's where we need to go today, as we move ahead. And it's going to get nasty. A lot of this stuff is happening simply because we're now approaching the commencement of the beginning of the renegotiation of the trade deal with the U.S. Let me take a short break here. I'm just going to check for an update on a couple of things, and we'll be right back. We're getting into the home stretch, so don't go away. I always try to save the best for last.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So I'm just trying to be as impartial and as objective as possible in bringing you all of this information. And I'm even trying to keep some of my personal views out of my commentary tonight. Pretty tough, with especially where this story about the apparent attempted assassination on the president is concerned. I have to admit that a lot of the stuff surrounding this, as has always been the case with Trump, it's all weird. It's certainly entertaining. The aftermath, the fallout from it, also very entertaining. It is entertainment. As sick and twisted as all of that is, it is kind of sick and twisted. So just to kind of recap where we're at, so you've got this 31-year-old Tomas Allen, still in custody tonight. Authorities saying, of course, that we know, we've seen the video, he rushed into the Hilton, White House Correspondents Association dinner, armed with that, apparently, a shotgun, a handgun, knives. Opened fire, they say. Haven't seen shots of him firing. Some people are like, where do the shots come from? We're told an officer was hit, bulletproof vest on, officer wounded but not seriously, going to be okay, we're told. Cole Allen, a teacher, engineer, described by some as a teacher of the month, getting some sort of an award, Teacher of the Month award, where he was teaching as a part-time teacher, allegedly sent this 1,000-word manifesto to family members just minutes before this whole thing went down last night, which we carried live right here on Maverick News, live streaming it in real time, commenting. And then in this manifesto, as we showed you, he reportedly called himself a friendly federal assassin. A friendly federal assassin. And railed against Trump administration policies. Investigators saying preliminary evidence shows that he was targeting administration officials, which he writes about in that manifesto, assuming that's real, and I think it is, but again, who knows? I shouldn't even say that. But he was likely also targeting the president, so a real assassination attempt. 3 serious ones against the president so far. 17 in total, I believe, is where we're at with other threats and less serious assassination attempts, but 3 where the president's life was potentially really in danger because of close proximity. So the motive of Cole Allen, still really not sure. FBI Secret Service executing that search warrant at Allen's Torrance, California home overnight. They're continuing to examine his electronic devices, his writing, and going over the ballistics evidence as well. So he faces preliminary federal charges, including using a firearm during a crime of violence and assault on a federal officer with a dangerous weapon. Additional charges expected. I believe Todd Blanche on social media, I think he was interviewed, was it CBS? I'll find you the clip. Here he is on CNN, acting AG. And he was doing the Sunday talk show circuit today. Let's get his clip from CNN first. This is today.
Our brave Secret Service agent who took one to the chest, although he was wearing a bulletproof vest. The president talked to him last night from the Oval Office. He was in great spirits. He was very appreciative. The president expressed his appreciation, his gratitude, and so yes. But no, I do not think, to the contrary, this was a security failure. This is law enforcement doing exactly what they trained their whole lives to do. Our brave Secret Service.
Mm-hmm. And if I go down here, we'll get him on CBS Face the Nation. Here he is on the other network. One of.
Any indication at this point that he was part of a group? Was there any foreign nexus to the inspiration for the violence he attempted last night?
We're still looking into motivation, and that's something that hopefully we'll learn over the next couple of days. We do believe, based upon just a very preliminary start to understanding what happened, that he was targeting members of the administration. We don't have specifics beyond that kind of general statement from what we've learned so far, but we're actively talking to witnesses that knew him and talking to other individuals and going through the material that we've collected. So I expect that you will hear more about that in the coming days.
You mentioned a statement. Is the alleged shooter, sharing details on what he was attempting to do? What makes you say it was a threat to administration officials writ large?
Just based on the evidence we've collected, not a statement from the suspect,
Okay.
Just from what we've learned in our preliminary investigation. He's not actively cooperating. I expect that he will be formally charged tomorrow morning in federal court in Washington, D.C., and we'll go from there.
Yeah. So, man, I don't know. It's terrible situation. Just another splinter in the finger. More pain for America. And other countries too, because nobody likes to see this. Nobody sane. But there is the question, right? What is sane? What is sane? Here's Blanche on Fox News, I believe. No, this is not related. It's okay. We've got you covered. When I say what is sane, I mean I find it ironic that we have a president that people have been talking about it, using the 25th Amendment on, saying that the guy who
President,
did this
the Secretary of State, the Speaker of the House. I'm not sure that.
This is him on
ABC.
ABC.
You look at last night, you see the President, the Vice President, the Secretary of State, the Speaker of the House. I'm not sure that the Senate President Pro Tem was there, but you've got the entire presidential line of succession right there, all in the same room. Is it safe to have an event like that at a hotel like the Washington Hilton?
Well, listen, I have two responses to that, George. One, the system worked. Law enforcement and the Secret Service protected all of us. The man barely got past the perimeter, and so when you have a perimeter designed to keep people safe like President Trump, and it works, that's something that should be applauded. Secondly, as President Trump said, we are not going to stop doing what we're doing. We're not going to stop living. We're not going to stop being out there. President Trump is going to continue communicating with the American people in public. And the fact that the Vice President and other leadership were there last night in one room is why we had such a robust security surrounding the place, inside the place, and it's why we are all safe. And so this was tragic. It was a night that none of us will forget for a very long time. But do not forget that the system worked. The Secret Service kept us safe. And that man was quickly apprehended and subdued seconds after he tried to breach the perimeter.
Everything in place for the visit of King Charles this week?
Sorry, can you repeat that, George?
Is everything in place for the visit of King Charles this week?
Yeah, so look, I think that we expect that the suspect will be charged tomorrow morning in federal court with 2 counts, assault of a federal officer and use of a firearm during a crime of violence. We're going to continue to investigate, and it'll just be a complaint tomorrow. An indictment will be coming in the coming days or weeks, and go from there.
And I don't think he knows that the king is coming. But the system has sort of worked. And the PR, information warfare system, continues to work too. Because, yeah, man, like I said, as a result of all of this, President Trump will enjoy a bump, I think, in his approval rating. That in itself is what is fueling some of the conspiracy theories out there, because they're like, oh, see, that's why he's doing it. He's doing it because he needs it as a distraction. It will do that. Whether it was intentional, planned, if it's a conspiracy, it will have that effect. There's just no question about it. And that's why a lot of people think that the whole damn thing, well, before I say that, I just want to say this too. I'm going to come back to it. I think it's an important point to make. What is sane, and why do people do these things? I think it's because they become, you can say radicalized, or maybe just so emotionally invested in a point of view, in what they believe, that it becomes very real to them. And so if you have a perception in your mind that there is this huge, massive evil threat, then in your mind you are justified in doing something as radical as what we saw last night. I can't say for sure what was going through Cole Allen's mind. Whatever it was, I don't think it was healthy. He's now in a lot of trouble. And he could have done a lot more damage than he did. But the thing is, this is why I think this whole thing is also so weird and insane. Because you have a man in the White House who has been accused repeatedly over the past, especially couple of months, especially since going to war with Iran, of maybe not being completely stable himself. And you can see evidence of that in what he has been posting on his Truth Social account, talking about completely destroying an entire society, leading some people to think that he might actually want to use nuclear weapons because he said that. Now, I don't see any credibility in the reports that he was trying to get the nuclear code, use the nuclear codes. I don't think that's true. So there's also this campaign out there to bring him down. And I can kind of see where that's coming from, but that's not credible. But what he posts on social media is there for the whole world to see. And so, yeah, some of that stuff is just completely unhinged. Oh, but that's just Trump being Trump. That's a negotiating tactic. Well, you are the president of the United States. People take that stuff seriously. It scares people. And when you're posting stuff like that online, that you're going to genocide an entire society, yes, some people take it freaking seriously. And so you can point the finger at your political opponents and say, see, if you just didn't talk that way, then we wouldn't have these kinds of things happening. You people are all those. Trump didn't say it's just him. He said these people, those people are sick. That means anybody that criticizes him. And what have they been doing? They've been ramping up the whole, and I've been getting it here. You have really serious TDS. You better get some help with that. Why? Because I criticized the president? A politician? Because of the crazy stuff that he's been posting online? It's my job to criticize a politician. But see, when they invoke TDS, what they're doing is exactly what dictatorships, communist authoritarian governments, fascist governments have done through history. If you criticize a dictator, an authoritarian supreme leader, they will designate you as being insane. You have TDS. That's getting dangerous. And if you are posting stuff that is so crazy, do you not understand why some people will take that seriously and be so scared that maybe that alone is enough to trigger somebody who's on the edge to go and do what we saw last night? I can't say for sure. But I don't think it's entirely fair to just point a finger at political opponents and not take responsibility for your own actions. When you have the most power, when you're the one responsible, when you are the leader, when you have the most protection, and when you can actually do the things that you threaten to do and not be held accountable, what's more insane? Trying to kill one man, which is a very personal thing that people can relate to and understand and get upset about because he's supposed to be our protector? Or is it more insane for our protector to be threatening to completely obliterate and genocide an entire group of people, to wipe them off the face of the planet? Think back, a lot of people were on pins and needles for 24 hours after he posted that, wondering, is he really going to do something that radical? What are we going to see? Is he going to push the big red button? It was that serious. It scared the hell out of a lot of people. I was nervous about it. I didn't think it was really going to happen, but it was weighing in the back of my mind, and he never should be posting stuff like that because he is in that kind of position. The thing about any nation state is they have the power to kill you. They can impose laws, capital punishment laws. If you break this law, electric chair for you. They can do that, but you can't do it to them as an individual. So he can go to war. He can order people to be killed. That alone has got to screw with your mind. Any leader, not just him, in Canada, not so easy. Our system doesn't allow the prime minister to just sign a thing and say, go bomb those people. Happens down there, though, because of the way the system is set up. Maybe it needs to be that way, but then you need to make sure that you put somebody in a position of power there where you know that they're going to act responsibly and with a level head. Because with that amount of power comes massive responsibility. But what I see going on, some of it is so juvenile, so childish, so immature. Yeah, I'm nervous every day. Now, I'm telling you, I keep telling everybody, don't do anything crazy. It's not that bad. And you're only going to get yourself in trouble if you even post things, even as a joke online, that you maybe don't even mean. I'm just saying, anybody out there, if you're thinking about doing anything crazy, whether you're in Canada or the US or elsewhere, Don't. That's not the answer, as you saw last night. I understand, though, that the reality is one man's truth, whatever that truth was to Cole Allen, or is even tonight, whatever his truth is, that to Donald Trump and is insanity. That's the reality. And that's pretty sick. And that's why some people just can't handle the truth. And I think that's why every time this happens, people end up saying, it's all fake. See you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, on The Flip Side.
Biden's about, Charlie's alive. Elvis flips burgers on the Lower East Side. 10 Trumps mask up on your phone. Shilling mean coins by remote drone. Graphene needles in your veins. Chemtrail sugar fries your brain. George Floyd's American hologram pie. Don't trust your lying eyes. It's all fake. It's all fake. The moon is a hoax. Give your head a shake. It's all fake. It's all fake. Your mama's a lizard. Your daddy's a snake. Bigfoot codes, the Mossad plan. Flat Earth truckers fighting the man. Dinosaurs guard an empty fed vault. Truth is dead and it's the media's fault. Conspiracies are real, let it sink in. Time travel, JFK is president again. 9/11's a VR game. The elite cut deals in the devil's name. It's all fake. It's all fake. From the jab to the pills that you take. It's all fake. It's all fake. The Pope's in a bunker with Q as his mate. Your phone's a snitch. Your dog's AI. The king eats penguins in conspiracy pie. JFK Jr., Cobain, and Tupac. They ain't dead. They're all coming back. It's all fake. It's all fake. Every headline, every handshake. It's all fake. It's all fake. FBI, CIA, KGB, ABC. Are you awake? Don't believe your lying eyes. It's all fake. It's all fake.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.